see. Yeah, power to the collective in the data and the soul. The hive mind's getting louder, finding voice and control.
What is going on, Hive? I hope everybody is having a fantastic day. I can tell you right now, if you're new here, welcome to the Hive. This is a contrarian thinking live stream where we are not afraid to think past the headlines and question the narrative. So if you are offended or rattled on behalf of others, this is probably not going to be the stream for you, because you're going to hear things that might be crazy if you've never heard them before, such as, I bet that Dylan and Bethany might know what happened and they weren't really sleeping, and the Vampire Diary is just a bunch of bullshit. If that bothers you, this probably isn't going to be the stream for you. It's not that we're victim blaming. It's not that we're victim shaming. We are seeking truth. We are asking questions. It is okay. And we do, believe it or not, have the freedom to think out loud with a group of people on the internet, which is known as the Hive Mind, aka the chat. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, you are amongst friends, you have found your people, and let's get into it. As a reminder, everybody, I have a Discord and a Substack. Please press subscribe. You guys heard me saying that all of my streams and all of the platforms that I'm on are free. I got the MSNPC t-shirts made. I got pink tinfoil hats, and I have hoodies that are embroidered now with Hive Mind. And I got Phoenix Talks. I'm just going to go ahead and bring her on up right away.
What's the wordy birdie? It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Hey, chat. It's good to see the chat.
Moving on to the Discord question of the day. This comes from the Daily Twin Flame. And they ask, so if the AB, or the Aryan Brotherhood, or the cartel were the perps, did they work with law enforcement to choose Bryan Kohberger as the patsy? They obviously work hand in hand and pay off certain factions. So who chooses the fall guy? In my mind, Phoenix, the AB and the cartel, they don't necessarily have to even tell LE or pick the fall guy with LE. You know what I mean? That could just be an LE thing on their own. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, I look at this, Birdie, honestly, I look at it a triangle. At the top, you have LE. On the side of the left, you have the AB or the cartel. On the right, you have the frats. So what does the AB and the frats have in common? LE. LE has the connection stronger with the AB and the cartel. And the frats are just part of the equation. So at the end of the day, who picks who? The LE picks whatever they want. They have the authority.
That was a great question, the Daily Twin Flame. Thank you for submitting that. Now, moving on to the Hive Mind finds. This is kind of what sparked the theme about, is he an informant or a criminal? Because this is from Kat. Now, I have not seen this exact post before, but we've heard rumblings about what this picture is with the email that had the employee info bolded. So Kat said, Birdie, this makes more sense than the BS they are feeding us. We have said this all along. Obviously, I don't know how true it is, but this is believable. And on this discussion board, I believe this is Facebook, on the Justice for Bryan Kohberger page, it says, 3 days ago, I was given some exclusive information. Now, even myself, when I read that, I think, damn, what's about to get said next? Because I'm sure you're the same way, Phoenix, with your inbox or your comments. It's like somebody's like, I have this wild information, and while yes, it's wild, and a lot of the times it makes sense, it's like, but where did you get that from? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Like, that trusted source.
Yeah, it's the phantom source. It's a phantom witness. That's what I'm saying. So
this is actually factually in the emails that I reviewed maybe a week ago, that these emails exist. And I went over all the emails. This exists.
I'll read this. It says, 3 days ago, I was given some exclusive information. I've been sworn to secrecy and not naming my source, which I never will, but let's just say this person is very well connected to this case. During our long conversation, they told me that they'd spoken in detail to a U.S. federal agent, confidentially, of course, who confirmed something that I've always suspected and claimed, that Bryan C. Kohberger was, in fact, employed by Pullman Police Department but not in the assistantship role he originally applied for, in a different capacity altogether. Apparently, Bryan was covertly employed in the role of a confidential informant and was working on a range of undercover projects for them at the time of the crimes. What those projects entailed, I really couldn't tell you, but there's one thing I can for an almost certainty. Playing the King Road Patsy was his very last role until he gets his new identity in WITSEC. Checkmate, Guilters. And then they attach this picture that did come from the Pullman Police Department, and you can see, Gary Jenkins, and you can see Bryan Kohberger's name with the employee info email up top.
Yeah.
While, yes, is it ever possible to completely fact check and source check this person? Most likely not. Most likely not. But using your brain, logically bridge building, does this, at least this bottom part here about where he goes, Bryan was covertly employed in the role of a CI, was working on a range of undercover projects, and what those projects entailed, you really couldn't tell us. But there's one thing I can for almost certainty, and that he was going to play the King Road Patsy until he gets his new identity in WITSEC. And then you look at what they're doing with the narrative about how he's losing control in jail and he hates it. And he's suicidal and people are talking shit to him. And then you look at the victim impact statements and how they were saying you're screwed and all this stuff. You can almost follow it like a damn map.
Yeah. It's really hard to understand if this is one of those patterns, because it looks like it's all prearranged. It's all going to happen the way we've already projected it. But we don't know that, because unfortunately, what if he was just thrown into this mess as a standalone guy and they are trying to keep it all together? Or what does he really know? What information does he have that no one wants out?
It's either he's completely in on it with, when I say completely in on it, I don't want to get it confused. And I got to be careful how I say this. He's either completely in on it from a standpoint of this was a legal job that he was doing.
Yeah.
Or it's he was somewhat involved by accident or whatever it is. But I just think that this has stayed too clean. And like real life is messy. And this is messy, but this doesn't feel like real life messy. This feels like constructed messy, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. But you know what really gets me is something, and I know that, Steve G said this in the past. We don't know what Steve G is bringing to us that's like truthful. But one thing that's always stayed in the back of my mind is that parallel investigation.
Yeah.
If there was a parallel investigation, which I think there is and is ongoing, not just it stopped, I believe, in my humble opinion, that perhaps this investigation where the feds would not take over and they made the state prosecute this case because the feds were not getting involved. The feds were investigating someone on this side of the wall, which is the police department and the university. So that was my thought.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I think Theodore just hit the nail on the head. Like, this is it. It's all planted. Even Ann Taylor didn't have enough time to process all the evidence before the trial. They needed delay. Then they settled for the plea. It's all constructed. Again, no pun intended, like bend Kohberger over the barrel and show him the 50 states of just how bad the U.S. judicial system can get you when they want to. Or it's meant to do things behind closed doors to keep the public safe. Either way.
National security.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And I don't know how I feel about that. That's something that has been a topic of ours that we've discussed, Phoenix, where it's like, you obviously have the experience from being in the service and with your past career. And for someone like myself who's not, sometimes it's hard for me to wrap my head around. Although, while I understand there are things that if they endanger the public, to not let the public know that they're going on makes sense. But when that certain something that you can't tell the public's going on is happening in the public, and people in the public are at risk or at danger because that investigation's going on, I've always, it's like discombobulated my brain. I don't get it. So it's like you're trying to keep us safe, but by also not telling us that it's going on, we're not aware of it. So we might stumble into something, and then by stumbling into it, we end up getting killed or hurt or framed or whatever it is, and we have no idea what hit us.
Right. Yeah, I could see that definitely, especially making all these documents secret, sealing them, hiding, having hearings in secret. I mean, that just blew my mind. I mean, what's the big secret here? It wasn't the drugs. We know and we can see the DEA, the DOG, the OCTEF. We can see those agencies report this publicly. We can see real-time federal indictments. So what was the secret that they needed to hide?
I don't know. That's one thing. And if you guys can help me understand, because we can all wrap our heads around that if somebody's parents snitched or if there was some sort of nefarious activity going on that led to somebody getting a target on their back, I can understand why you would go after people's kids and you would send a message. And I can understand if law enforcement was tied up in that and corrupt, but it still doesn't seem like it answers the entire question. And maybe that's a dumb comment. Maybe that doesn't make sense to people, but I want to just know, what is the motivation for keeping it going even now while Bryan's in prison with these complaints? Don't you think it'd be different if he just admitted guilt, they dropped it off the face of the earth, and then it's like, oh, Bryan Kohberger had committed suicide in a year, versus,
No, but they
Yeah.
keep sharing just like we
That's what I
keep
mean.
talking about it. They keep sharing, we keep talking about it because they keep talking about it. So here's the big deal. What's the big secret? The big secret, I believe, obviously, it's all connected to the money, right? If you have the information out there to the public that this university is riddled with unexplained deaths, which it is, and that there's the frats involved, which they are. We've seen that in the documents. We've heard this from day one. And also the drug side of this, they lose money because who's their best paying customers? The students. Oh, don't get me started. I can go on a tangent and on a soapbox on this one.
Yeah.
So everybody loses. The university loses. LE loses because they don't have as many underage drinking charges. They don't have as many drug busts. They don't have all that income flowing. And then you lose fundings and grants and all that money, just that it becomes a ghost town.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The cover up is for sure for financially motivated. If there's multiple arms, that has to be like the most influential aspect of it, though, right?
Yeah, everybody loses
Yeah.
money. They lost the money from the university being sold to the University of Phoenix. I'm surprised how many people in Idaho have connections in Arizona. I'm surprised how many officers there were that caught on to something isn't right in this police department themselves. It's wild.
And Pamela, not to just put
Yep.
the comment up on, I kind of read the last sentence where you're like, I hate to go there, but it's been mentioned before by other people, and I'm sure you're like, oh shit, this is the one that Birdie picked to put up there as I said that. But you make a really good point.
Yes, she does.
You know, you heard about some of the things that might have been going on in that bottom bedroom where they found underwear and a mattress and all that shit, and maybe Kaylee was staying down there, and you guys all know what I'm talking about without going into the weeds. And in general, it's like, was there somebody in the police department that was having inappropriate relationships with students? I don't think it'd be the first time. Guys, I can't open X without seeing a teacher who just got snitched on with their students. It's wild. It's wild. It's also, do you know what else is crazy about that, Phoenix? And I want to move on, but this is so interesting to me. It's like, I've seen a lot of female teachers lately that have been in the news for that. And it's interesting because when you read the comments, it's all like, oh, what dude or what kid would like snitch on that? Like, what the hell? Blah, 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 blah. But then when it's a guy teacher, it's like, that's the most disgusting thing ever. And again, it's all painted in a surrounding narrative in the beliefs and just the general world of what you think is dangerous and what it's not. Right. But at the end of the day, male or female, those kids had the same crime done to them. It's just, what does society look at it like? It's wild.
Yeah.
So
it is.
And a lot of it has to do with social media. like I've said, with the Karen Reed case and then with this case.
Yeah, but if you think back in the past, in the 90s, there was that teacher, the female with the 16-year-old student. Remember, they had a baby together and it was all over the place. I mean, it still happens today, whether it's a female or male. It's still going on.
Moving on. This one is just, I don't even know what to say.
Oh,
This is insane. This is from Lisa Cat, and I believe that's their TikTok name. It goes, "Hey, Birdie, this is a minor coincidence, but look at this screenshot. These are real estate ads going around Idaho right now." Oh, they must have said this is from Lisa Cat. Shoot,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Whoever sent me this, darn it. Savvy Rooster. Thank you for sending me this. I messed that up from confusing this person at the top. But yeah, they run. Lisa Cat was on TikTok showing the Idaho real estate ads, and they have a guy in a mask with a dog. Can I just ask one thing? Are we even are we alive right now? Is this a dream? Is this a fever dream? Did somebody like drug us with bath salts? Are we hallucinating? Because I don't understand what agency would expect a house to sell with this photo or rent?
Is this one of those marketing things where, I mean,
Terrible
why would you
marketing.
even go want to look at the house?
It's like, have you ever seen that little kid that gets into the car and his mom picked him up from school and he's like, and his mom's like, "How's your day going?" And he's like, "Terrible sandwich, by the way." Like, have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
It's like, I could see like the marketing director like walking in being like, "Wow, did you see how many ads or how many clicks we got on our ads?" And it's the adult version of it. It's like, no, that was the stupidest shit I've ever seen. It's like,
Yeah.
what is happening?
This is like premonition. This is like asking for this to happen, right? Who in the heck would go look at that house? Oh my gosh, we are in the Matrix.
Then this one, and I know this is a little bit blurry. I try to get it as clear as I could.
Yeah.
This comes from China, and they had just said, interesting if you haven't already seen this. Now, this is the thumbnail of a video clip. It's like a 30-minute video.
Yeah.
And I know myself too, if I play a little bit of the video, I end up getting into the video, and then we've gone 30 minutes watching a video that we could all just go and watch. So they also had attached this photo, and this is from a screenshot of a TikTok. I'm not sure who said this, but it sounds like somebody who was probably close to some of the victims. But it says, "While all you people feel sad for DM, let me help you out. Her and her man are involved. They helped clean up and lied. She was out the next night with Bridget and Ashlyn after the unalivings, laughing about what was done to Kaylee. I won't get into the details. Laughing about how she suffered and pleading for her life, laughing about how they won't be able to recognize them. You get the point. DM hated her dog. She used to kick him while Kaylee wasn't around. She wanted her dead. Do you people not get it? I'm not trying to be rude. I'm so frustrated. I lived in Moscow, went to the same college, and I'll just say was close enough to know what I'm talking about. I moved out of Moscow when we became aware BK was indeed innocent. 100,000%. DM is not a victim. She hated Kaylee and Maddie. I'm talking now because I no longer live in Moscow. I'm sick and tired of people excusing her. My God, if you guys only knew the truth." They were all laughing because they know the chief has their back. I probably misspelled a lot. I'm extremely angry and frustrated because I feel like the truth has come out, but no one wants to believe it. The end. Peace. You know what I'm just thinking about too is this first line, or the third sentence. She was out the next night with Bridget and Ashlyn after the unalivings, laughing about what was done to Kaylee, laughing about how she suffered and pleading for her life, laughing about how they won't be able to recognize them. Now, do you all remember that 4chan post?
Yeah.
That like eviscerated everybody in that house?
Yep.
Foul language, very rude, very personal. Almost matched what we were told happened inside that house as far as when they say this is a personal crime. There are people that I guarantee you right now that read this that are having a worse reaction to this right here than that 4chan post, because they've probably never seen the 4chan post. But if this got out about Bryan Kohberger is innocent 100,000%, and that's what DM was doing the night after, people would lose their mind. And it goes back to, I cannot understand why people want it to be Bryan Kohberger so bad. They want it to be him. They would rather just say that it's him, even when it's not. And it's so confusing to me, because right here, this name and how her mom's in the Dateline documentary, but she's not. She doesn't want to be around. She moved away, and it's like, maybe she'll come back and blah, blah, blah. Almost like very Bethany-esque. You know what I mean?
Got the hell out of there, Dodge, and went to California.
This is from Native Californian CCH. I don't know how to say that. I apologize. And they had said, I have a feeling he never said that. And somebody had put out a request, and it says, Dear, their name, the city of Moscow received your public records request on July 29th of 2025. So this is recent. This is less than a month ago. The request asks for the quote transcript of Moscow police with Bryan Kohberger dated 12/29/22 as attached to Law Supplemental Narrative 194. Incident number 22 M09903, authored by Brett Payne, dated 5/10/23. Your request for information falls under the Idaho Public Records Act. Pursuant to Idaho Code 741032, the city, quote, shall either grant or deny a person's request to examine or copy public records, end quote. Please be advised that a search for the transcript of the interview of Bryan Kohberger was conducted, and no such records were identified to exist. So extensive searches conducted by MPD and ISP, the record does not exist. Therefore, your request is being denied.
The record does not exist. It doesn't exist, Bernie, and that's exactly what I was telling you on these motions to compel that Ann started filing back in May of 2023, and then consecutively 6 more motions to compel. They basically threw stuff at her, and they said there were no investigative reports. They threw a bunch of raw data at her and said there was no expert analysis. Then they gave her she wanted all the reports and communications. Then they said there were no reports to be given. And I'm thinking to myself, what is going on here?
Now, have you heard of this, Phoenix?
No. Tell me.
I haven't. No, I haven't either.
And this is what's happening to society right now. I get women that message me and say, I can't sleep over this case.
Zersetzung.
Zersetzung. Anyways, that's German for decomposition and disruption. It was a psychological warfare technique used by the Ministry for State Security, or the Stasi, to repress political opponents in East Germany during the 70s and the 80s.
Zersetzung.
Served to combat alleged and actual dissidents through covert means, using secret methods of abuse, control, and psychological manipulation to prevent anti-government activities. Among the defining features of it was the widespread use of counter-espionage methods as a means of repression. People were commonly targeted on a preemptive and preventive basis to limit or stop activities of political dissent and cultural incorrectness that they may have gone on to perform, and not on the basis of crimes they had actually committed.
Zersetzung.
Methods were designed to break down, undermine, and paralyze people behind a facade of social normality in a form of silent repression. Phoenix, it was great chatting with you. I hope you have a great night. Hive, I hope you all have a great rest of your evening. I will be back on tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central. Please subscribe, comment, like it. Send this to your normie friends. Wake them up. There's no refunds on the red pills. And with that, I hope everyone gets a great night's sleep. Cheers, everybody.
Thanks,
Phoenix. Yep.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting drifting on by. You know how I feel. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new life.